Hello all, and welcome back to Time to Dice Character Creation, where we make your favorite fictional characters in Pathfinder and Starfinder 2nd Edition. Today, we're returning to the Starfinder side of the spectrum to make Green Lantern. Specifically, we're going to be making Earth's first Green Lantern, Hal Jordan. But most of the Green Lanterns have a similar enough power set that with minimal tweaking, you could use this build for any of the other Green Lanterns. Before he wore the ring that gave him his name, Hal Jordan was a military test pilot with a penchant for disregarding authority. But that all changed when he met Abin Sur, who chose to make him the next member of the Green Lantern Corps. Hal Jordan took this role and became the protector of Sector 2814. So beware of spoilers, and without further ado, let's get started. So what do we need to make Highball? First off, we need to be able to fly. It'd be pretty difficult to participate in all those deep space battles if we didn't have the ability to get off the ground. Next, we need to be able to use the ring to create anything we can possibly imagine, from your everyday baseball bat to a Gatling gun, so that we can clobber our foes regardless of the situation. And finally, and this is the most important thing, we need to make all of our abilities green. For our Ancestry, Hal Jordan is a human, so our choice is kind of made for us. This means 8 hit points and 2 free attribute boosts, which we'll use to invest in strength and charisma. Movement speed is a standard 25 feet, and our heritage, we're going to pick up the skilled human heritage to get training and later expert in the piloting skill. We're going to pick up the trooper background to reflect Hal's time in the military, granting us another 2 attribute boosts, which we'll put into strength and wisdom, and training in both athletics and warfare lore. And finally, we get the barricade general feat, to create a barrier to give ourselves or allies lesser cover. Any creature benefiting from this lesser cover can take an action to hunker down and increase it to standard cover instead. For our class, only one class in the game gives us the ability to conjure weapons out of thin air, so we're going to go Solarian, giving us expert in perception checks so that no evil can escape our sight. We also get expert in both reflex saves and will saves, fitting seeing as all of Hal's powers are based from the strength of his will. We only get training in fortitude, so our physical defenses are going to need to rely more on our strength of our shield than the strength of our body. For our skills, we get training in 3 plus our intelligence modifier skills of our choice, plus a bonus skills because we already got athletics from our background. And finally, for our gear, we get training in all simple and martial weapons, as well as up to medium armor. This will make sure we can use all of the weapons that we conjure. For our skills, in the Pathfinder universe, most things outer space fall under occultism, so we're going to get legendary in that, as well as piloting so that we can fly our top-of-the-line airships, and acrobatics, letting us fly through asteroid belts without faceplanting. We don't get any master skills, but we do get expert in society, representing all the knowledge that the Green Lantern Corps gave us. And for our trained skills, we're going to pick up Arcana, Athletics, Crafting, Diplomacy, Warfare Lore, and Medicine. This is your basic I was in the military starting set. For our attributes, we're going to invest 4 boosts into our strength. Hal's power doesn't come from his muscles, but a Solarian's power is based off his strength, so our hands are kind of tied here. Dexterity is a +0, because why spend time dodging energy attacks when we have an impenetrable shield to block hits for us? Constitution is at +1, because when you're on the same team as Superman, occasionally you need to be able to take a punch too strong for most humans. Intelligence is also at a 0. We don't need the extra skill increases, and Batman is the brains of the team. And finally, Wisdom and Charisma are both at +2. Hal's powers are based off of the strength of his will and the creativity he displays. I would put Wisdom at +3, but we need our Charisma a bit higher later, at least until Paizo makes a Wisdom occult casting class. Alright, now that we're level 1, the first thing we need to do is ask our GM if we can flavor all of our abilities to be green. If he agrees, we've already accomplished one of our build goals, and if he doesn't, well, maybe find a new GM? As a marshal, we get a class feat at level 1, but why stop at 1 class feat when we can use the natural ambition ancestry feat to double it? The solar shield feat lets us conjure a shield to increase our AC and shield block to lower incoming damage. The shield even restores to full health on a 10-minute rest, so we don't even have to worry about breaking it. And Stellar Rush lets us stride twice with a +10 foot bonus to our speed. Perfect for when you need to fly to the nearest planet real quick. We also get to pick a Solarian arrangement. All of our abilities give off light, so Radiant fits, but we're also pretty good at moving things around, so Degradant fits as well. Let's just split the difference and go balanced, to get the Binaric Assault Revelation, letting us make a ranged attack and a melee attack with the same multiple attack penalty. We also get 3 Solar Manifestations, A solar shot lets us manifest a ranged weapon to attack with. A solar nimbus gives us a reaction we can use to punish foes who try to strike us in melee range, as well as either pushing them away or dealing a little bit of fire damage. And solar weapon lets us conjure any weapon we can think of. We get to pick which weapon group the weapon is in, as well as giving it 2 of the following traits: disarm, grapple, parry, sweep, versatile, free hand, non-lethal, shove, or trap. You can mix and match the weapon group and the traits to suit anything you could possibly need. The only downside here is if you want to switch what weapon you conjure, you have to spend 10 minutes imagining a different weapon. And I don't know about you, but that seems a bit slow. So at level 2, we're going to pick up the Mindsmith dedication to conjure an additional melee weapon. This choice is a bit more limited, and it takes a day to change out which of these weapons you pick, but the weapon has 4 different forms, each with a different amount of damage and trait layout. Between these 2 abilities, you should have more than enough options, at least for melee combat. We'll cover some ranged options later. We also get the stunt maneuver skill feat at this level, letting us take reckless actions with any ship we happen to be piloting with no downsides. At level 3, we're going to pick up the toughness general feat, giving us a couple more hit points with our sheer will to live. Level 3 Solarians also get Indomitable Mind and Body feature, boosting our fortitude saves to expert, as well as letting us change our current attunement whenever we succeed at any save against a mental or incapacitation effect. At level 4, it's not just weapons we can manifest, with the class feat Just a Tool, letting us conjure any simple tool like a shovel or a crowbar. However, we can't use this to make entire tool kits, meaning we have to purchase some healer's tools if we want to make use of the battle medicine skill feat that we get at this level to help us replicate the first aid training Hal got for the military. At level 5, we get the Clever Improviser Ancestry feat, letting us add half our level to any skill check we make, even if we're untrained in that skill. We also get Stellar Weapon Expertise, increasing our proficiency with all simple and martial weapons, as well as unlocking critical specializations, but only for our solar weapon. At level 6, we get the Mental Forge feat, allowing us to add a couple more traits to our mind weapon. Be warned though, these traits require a full week to change. Man, is everything we do going to be slow to change out? It makes me want to take the Take the Wheel skill feat, so that we can pilot a vehicle with the same action it takes to take the helm. At level 7, we pick up Die Hard, letting us push past our limits and die not at dying 4, instead lasting a whole nother round to dying 5. We also get the Pensive Assessor feature, boosting our perception and giving us a bonus to initiative rolls, as well as weapon specialization, giving us a much appreciated damage boost. At level 8, we can pick up the Malleable Mental Forge feat, letting us select 2 backup traits that we can use to enhance our mental weapon. At this point, our backup weapon has backup traits. I think we're plenty versatile enough. We also get the Underwater Marauder skill feat, allowing us to use our abilities to full effect even underwater. Maybe we make one of those green air bubbles things. At level 9, we pick up the Multi-Talented Ancestry feat, allowing us to pick up the Psychic dedication to get a cantrip. Specifically, the Shield cantrip from Tangible Dream subclass. This shield works pretty much identically to our Solar Shield, except its hardness doesn't rely on our current attunement, and we can spend a focus point to conjure a multi-layered shield to block even more incoming damage. We also get Willful Defiance, boosting our will saves to master and bumping our successes up to critical successes with will saves. At level 10, we pick up the Catfall skill feat, as a backup option in case our ring runs out of power mid-flight. It's only in saying that I now realize we still haven't picked up a way to actually fly. We'll get a little bit closer to that goal with basic psychic spellcasting, giving us a rank 1, 2, and 3 spell. Kinetic Ram is great for conjuring a battering ram to damage foes and push them back. It's even castable with any number of actions, meaning it's easy to fit into any particular round. Telekinetic Maneuver lets us push foes around even with their abysmal athletic score, and Phantom Prison lets us put one of those green shield bubbles around an opponent, at least until their will overpowers our own. At level 11, we get Breath Control, letting us hold our breath in the vacuum of space, and Armor Expertise, boosting our reflex proficiency to master. Level 12, we get yet another way of manifesting weapon, with a class feat Psi Development, to pick up the Imaginary Weapon cantrip. This weapon only lasts for a single strike, and it doesn't have any of the other traits of our other manifestations. But it excels at doing massive damage, blasting through enemy resistances with a single attack roll. At this point, the ring is pretty powerful. Definitely powerful enough to justify getting the Deadlift skill feat, letting us lift up heavier objects than usual. At level 13, we're going to pick up the Aeromancer Ancestry feat, giving us the ability to cast Fly once per day, finally letting us get our feet off the ground. And the Solarian Weapon Master increases our piloting proficiency to Legendary. At level 14, we're going to pick up a couple more spells with Expert Psychic Spellcasting. This gives us a 4th and 5th rank spell slot. Resilient Sphere lets us protect an ally or trap an opponent in an immobile sphere, and Forceful Hand lets us conjure a classic Green Lantern Giant Fist to provide cover for our allies, and at higher levels, we can even use the hand to attack foes. At level 15, we're going to get quite a few boosts. Kip Up helps us get back into the fight if we ever get knocked down. Controlled Body increases our reflex saves to Master, as well as increasing any successful reflex saves we make to critical successes, meaning we can dodge out of the way of Sinestro's blasts. And the Greater Revelization Astrologic Sense. This lets us get the benefits of either being photon tuned or graviton attuned, based off what suits our situation. And finally, Greater Weapon Specialization maxes out our damage for any weapon that we happen to be using. At level 16, we pick up the Mind Projectile class feat. This lets us convert our mind weapon into any ranged attack, doing d6s of damage, and copying any runes that we put on our mental weapon that can affect ranged weapons as well. We also get the skill feat, Fly Anything, letting us fly any kind of vehicle with ease, and the 6th rank spell, Wall of Force. This makes a green wall of force. At level 17, the Ancestry feat, Too Stubborn to Die, gives us a little bit more battlefield persistence, as we find the willpower to keep fighting on even when all hope seems lost. And the feature Armor Mastery increases our stealth proficiency to Legendary. At level 18, we're going to go ahead and pick up Master Psychic Spells to get our last upgrade to our spell slots. For our 7th rank spell, we're going to pick up the spell Force Cage to lock down foes for some much needed battlefield control. We also get the Assurance feat for piloting, meaning we never have to crash an experimental test flight ever again. At level 19, we're going to pick up the General feat, Numb to Death, giving us a couple extra hit points whenever we come back from dying for the first time each day. And the Solar Paradigm feature increases our solar weapon to Legendary. At this point, our solar weapon definitely outclasses our mental weapon, so save the mental weapon for whenever we just really need the extra traits. And finally, here we are at level 20. We're going to pick up the Ghost Blade class feat, giving our mental weapons the Ghost Touch property, allowing them to hit incorporeal creatures. And Assurance and Acrobatics to help us navigate in the asteroid fields. Alright, that's the build. You know what time it is. This build is really good at having something for just about every situation. If there's a weapon trait that exists in their game between our solar weapon and our mental weapon, odds are we can get it. And if you don't need special traits, you can use the Imaginary Weapon cantrip to just blast a foe with any type of damage. And if your friends bring Superman to the table and are seriously just outclassing you in damage, then you can switch it up and switch to a more battlefield control perspective with things like Resilient Sphere, Wall of Force, and Force Cage to lock down opponents and prevent them from outmaneuvering you. For our cons, the first and most obvious one, because we are so invested in archetypes, we don't actually have a lot of investment into our Solarian class, meaning we don't really see the benefits of being photon or graviton attuned. Next, our spells lag behind tremendously. We don't even get spells to level 9, and because we're splitting our secondary attributes between Wisdom and Charisma, our DCs are not nearly as high as they could be. And finally, this is kind of a low mobility build. We only get a 25-foot movement speed, and we don't actually end up even getting Fleet. And with no mobility options until level 13, and even then it's just a single fly spell, don't be surprised if enemies are outmaneuvering us quite a bit. And that's the video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with your friends. Share it with your enemies. Share it with your 5th grade social studies teacher. She needs to see it.